All right, everybody, welcome to tonight's live stream. I'm hoping that my internet holds steady. I was having some issues with it earlier, so there may be a little bit of lag. Hopefully it doesn't drop off to zero. Lag I can deal with, zero I cannot. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that. If you're watching this on playback, please be warned there will be spoilers for basically all the Arrowverse shows this season. Supergirl, Legends, Arrow, and Flash. And we will be talking about the CW upfronts, Batwoman, and schedule changes, and probably some Crisis stuff as well. As much as we can fit in, we don't want the stream to go on too long. So just a fair warning for all of that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It is me, it is Pagey, and it's you guys. And let's take off this image here and go with it. You there, Pagey? Say something.
I am here. Welcome, everyone.
Okay.
We are the Flash. I don't know. We'll just go with that intro, I guess.
We are the Flash. Is that what we're doing now? Is that what
Or we may as well go with that one.
All right. So hopefully everybody can see us and hear us. And yeah, let's see. Everything good, because I'm not seeing any feedback from the chat there, but it shows we're live and there are 15 people watching. So I'm hoping that that is a yes. All right. So we are at the end of the seasons for all of our shows. What a season it was. Supergirl Legends ended a week late. We kind of knew that was happening. I think it was good to split them up like that. What do you think? To have them off on by a week?
Yeah. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. So, like, there wasn't a finale, especially on, like, Legends and Arrows days. There wasn't two finales in a row.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it probably was better for Arrow to have the first finale because of what happened at the end of Arrow with the Monitor showing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably more important that he showed up first in Arrow.
Okay.
And before Supergirl and Legends. So I think that's mainly probably why that happened.
Yeah. So it looks like almost everything at the end of the season is setting up for Crisis. It feels weird because it makes you almost think Crisis is going to start like right at the beginning of next season. But it shouldn't, though, technically, compared to what the information that we got from the upfronts, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it does feel like they're setting that up. So that's kind of interesting that kind of all the shows are moving in that direction. But yeah, so we had Supergirl and Legends this week, and I'm pretty sure that you actually got to watch them because you did your reviews. So I'm guessing you did.
Well, let's just assume I watched them and I didn't bullshit my reviews. Okay. Because that'd be next level effort.
So let's go ahead. We'll start with Supergirl, and I'm going to throw in, let's see, we'll do Supergirl first, and I'm going to throw in the pictures for the penultimate episode as well, because we didn't get to chat much about that. I'll just throw them in for photos there for us to have. And here we go. All right, so the Supergirl finale was titled The Quest for Peace. I've got my notes in front of me here, I believe. Let me go over here. The Quest for Peace, which, it's interesting, it was season 4 of Supergirl, and Superman 4 was the one that was titled A Quest for Peace. Oh, connections there. And John Cryer played Lenny Luthor, who was the nephew of Lex Luthor in that. So it's all a little throwback to that. Says, please talk about Legends first. We don't do that. We do them in order. We always do them in order. So, Supergirl finale, Quest for Peace. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, for me, this was the best of the 4 finales we got.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's going out on a limb. I think it's stating the obvious.
So you agree with me then? You don't think that it's a question?
Well, I think the only people that wouldn't say that are the people that don't watch Supergirl.
Okay.
So... yeah, so I think like it's pretty obvious. Like there was, like it wasn't perfect. It's far from it wasn't. It wasn't a 10 out of 10. Yeah. Like I saw some people saying, "Oh my god, 10 out of 10." It's like no, like there's some silly parts and some like quick tie-ups and in some cases lackluster endings to certain storylines. Mm-hmm. But compared, I think probably I don't know, maybe Flash sort of competes, but even then it doesn't. At the same time, like Flash had some epic moments, but. Mm-hmm. It was much more inconsistent. Yeah. So this felt like a better wrap up for the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think Flash can, like we said this last week, Flash, what it lacks in everything else, it makes up for in spectacle. And I think on that way, it does compete with Supergirl. But I think if you're looking at the season-long wrap up, I think Supergirl is the only show out of the 4 of them that really did what it needed to do in the finale for wrapping up stories, honestly.
Yeah.
Flash, to me, we're going to talk about Flash tonight. Don't worry. I've got a couple things. But, I think Supergirl, it took its stories from the season and it gave us logical answers for them. I didn't agree with every single one of the stories. Some of them were kind of boring to me, but they did try to at least wrap them up a little bit. And I thought that was pretty good. I'll also say that the penultimate episode was easily the best penultimate episode of the 4 shows and probably one of the best episodes of Supergirl ever. The one right before this, which is crazy because Lex wasn't in that one, but it was a really, really good episode. So
yeah.
Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about from this finale, because we're going to just breeze through these, is the Agent Liberty story. So at the beginning of the season, he's a regular guy. He seems to be pretty put together. Then he cracks because of all the alien stuff that happens to him. Eventually becomes involved with this Children of Liberty thing. And then all this manipulation is coming from Lex Luthor. So we find that out. And he ends up getting superpowers and being able to fight against our characters at the end, which I said, and even you agreed with this, that him getting superpowers was almost a no-brainer. Basically, when they set up the Heart of Hell story, I mean, it seemed like it was the best one. What do you think of the wrap-up of the Agent Liberty story? Do you feel like it was satisfactory, or were you let down by it, or what?
Not really, because it was like the previous episode. They sort of tried to wrap it up by at least giving a lot of backstory and at least revealing to him who was behind everything. Mm-hmm. Maybe they could have done more, but I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. It's just like I'm fine with what they did with him.
Because he was technically like a side villain. He was in the whole season, but he wasn't like the big bad. So,
but he was a side villain. But he's just really once again, like a lot of characters in this season, was just a pawn in Lex's plan.
Yeah, right.
And a game of chess. So I think because of that, there's no need to fully wrap up his story because he was just he was just part 1A or part 2C of Lex's plan. So due to that, there's necessarily this massive need to wrap his story up, unlike maybe like Red Daughter, but mainly Lex and wrapping that up.
Well, let's say this is one of the things with the Agent Liberty story that ties into the Harnell stuff with James and Lena, which by the way was really interesting this year. I love the fact that they did what the Flash couldn't do, which was if you got powers and you are using them incorrectly, we're just going to take them from you. You know what I mean? Like they went out, they created the device to take out the Harnell, to remove their superpowers without consent. Whereas in the Flash, they acted like they needed consent for everything. And it made sense in Supergirl. And this is actually where I think Supergirl did better than the Flash. The idea of giving people who are murdering people the opportunity to consent to having their powers removed is ridiculous. And it was ridiculous on the Flash. I think on Supergirl, taking away powers that you either got accidentally or you were manipulated into having or whatever, it made sense to me. What do you think? Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Once again, with the Flash thing, I'll defend them why they didn't give it to Grace, but...
Yeah. No, I understand that. I'm talking about
it's more the other
like
people,
criminals, like adult people that are like, for example, Cicada himself. He's out murdering people. You don't give him that opportunity. You take the powers. Like the whole thing about that was when I don't want to dive too much into the Flash, but asking Cicada yes or no, what was the alternate if he said no? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like what would they have done? So,
well, that was only for one episode. The thing that triggered me was the people still going on, oh, just give it to little Grace. I'm sitting there going, you obviously didn't listen to the show.
Right.
If he's still complaining about that.
But I think in the sense of Supergirl, the idea of creating a device where you can just inject it and take their powers away, I think having that for people that are literally criminals, killing people, I think that was what the Flash should have done with the Metacure. It's essentially the same thing. Because if you think about it, the Metacure is curing people of something that they got by accident. So it wasn't like these people were born with these powers. So...
yeah.
Okay. Moving on from that, we have the Nia John Brainy story, which, by the way, what did you think about Brainiac being like Brainiac? Not Brainiac 5, but like literally Brainiac. What did you think about that?
I didn't mind that. I thought that made sense. I thought it was weird how he regained control. It just sort of like happened, but I thought it was cool. I thought they might have left that as like a a thing going into next season where he wasn't fully evil, but like the ancestral control was sort of taking over due to the reboot. So I was sort of surprised they just snapped back into it. I think it might have been better if they let that slip into next season.
It's the power of love, Pagey. It's the power of love that caused him to snap back into it.
Oh, it's the power of just convenient writing.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I thought that was kind of silly, but I did like, and I'm just going to assume that the writers were really good this year because they made Brainy so lighthearted and silly, and then they just flipped that on its head with this switch to like his Brainiac programming, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I have to give props to Jesse. He did a great job of playing two different versions of the same character. I thought that was pretty cool. So we got a few super chats here. Let me jump over to these real quick before we continue. And let's see here, YouTube super chats. Here we go. A 99-cent super chat from Striker J. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Gary Gammon with a $2.99 super chat. Will Eddie ever come back to the Flash? Don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
Don't hold your breath on that one. I would love for him to come back, but the ship is almost sailed on that. I think it's probably out of the harbor by now, on Eddie coming back to the Flash. What do you think? Thoughts on that?
Well, the only way you can bring him back is by doing Cobalt Blue, and the show seems too scared to do Cobalt Blue. I don't know why. I've literally said to countless times how to do the storyline, and that it is honestly the best storyline to do for Barry personally. But obviously, it's just like they would. The reason they won't do it is because I don't understand. Actually, it's probably because there's not enough development. They can keep it like a mystery for a while, and also there's a hell. You're gonna get people complaining. Oh my god, it's not a speedster villain again. Where's the speedster villain? You're gonna get people complaining about that. So even though Cobalt Blue technically can become a speedster, I don't know. That's the only way you're gonna see Eddie come back, unless it's like one of those crappy cameos. You know, like he's in the Speed Force. They travel back in time. It's Earth 4 Eddie that's randomly got to walk past and go, "Hey, what's going on?" and then leave. Yeah. So,
all right.
Don't do. Someone just wrote Malcolm Thornton. Someone wrote a theory and it made me want to throw up. It was like, let's make Eddie Thorne secretly Barry's twin brother, separated from birth. When Rick Cosnet and Grant Gustin literally look nothing alike.
Yeah. I don't know if that would work.
I wanted to vomit when I saw that theory, just because it's in the comics. Anyway, whatever.
All right. So Victor D. Chinchilla with the $4.99 super chat, who's talked about Supergirl. Thank you for that. Keeping it topical. Is Leviathan a different version, crossover Batwoman and Supergirl next season? Will the Heretic appear? So he's talking about at the end of the episode where we get that tease about Leviathan is coming with Miss Tessmacher. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think this version of Leviathan is going to be?
Well, there's a new Brian Michael Bendis is writing a new I guess it's like a whole DC thing, but it's featured around Superman involving Leviathan. It could be around that. I mean, like Shazam, the movie, incorporated stuff that's going to be Jeff Johns is literally writing right now. Right. But that's a movie. Like, this is a show that's going to start filming its next season in 2 months, under 2 months from now. So, actually, in just over a month from now. So, your live stream just went offline, I think.
Yeah, it's. I'm watching the numbers bounce around over here. It should be back. If it went off, you can refresh. It should come back.
You just came back online then, I think. Oh, good. Okay, you're back online. Yeah. They could do that if they do it from the comics. There is Leviathan, which has Talia al Ghul as the leader, and that heretic that he's talking about is like a clone of. Is it Damian Wayne? It's like a monstrous version. Is it a clone of Damian Wayne or Bruce Wayne?
Right. You're talking about the story from the comics, right? That's what we're talking about.
Heretic. Okay. So if they do Leviathan in regards to the organization next season, it would have nothing to do with the comic storyline. It won't have Talia al Ghul. I highly doubt it. It won't have Heretic or Heretic, everyone pronounce it. If anything, as I think I said in my video, it's probably just going to be it'd probably be the entity, which is the group that just formed this thing called the Leviathan, which would explain why there's all those people around looking at them. In the comics, it's obviously children, but they might say it's like they just grow up. The way people saying that was Granny Goodness, I think just because she's an old woman doesn't mean it's Granny Goodness.
Yeah.
I think people said that for Flash one episode as well. Anyway, I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do. If it is taken from that Brian Michael Bendis thing, then fair enough. But I highly doubt that'll be the case because that comic series launches middle of June, and I'm pretty sure Supergirl starts filming like 2 weeks after that. So you think that would play Leviathan into the first couple of episodes? So I highly doubt that'll be the case. It's probably going to be like the group that won't have, and it probably won't have a proper leader.
They would have to adapt a story that he's still writing, and I don't know if he'd want to do that or not because that
so if
it's out yet.
So if anything, it's going to be a take on the Batman one, and I don't think they'll use Talia al Ghul because is she a threat to like a Kryptonian?
Yeah, the
answer is no. So they'll probably use it like I think like this like just group mentality. That's all centered on something. They might have some overpowered leader, but if anything, it's probably going to just be like the Children of Liberty. What were they called? Agent Liberty's people? Was it?
Yeah, the Children of Liberty. That's right.
Children of Liberty. They'll just be like the group people for them to that cause an issue, and then it'll lead on to a bigger bad at the end of the season. Whoever that is, we'll have to wait and see. But probably won't meet the big battle post crisis. You'd have to think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I don't think they would take a story that's currently in the comics before it's even done and adapt it, because then it'd be sort of like what happened with Game of Thrones. So I don't think they would do that. All right, let's move on here. The next super chat is $20 from Naruto0076, and he says, "Hey Pagey, what episodes of Legends was this again?" I guess he's giving you trouble because of something you said.
Yeah, in my review I said episode 22.
Oh, okay.
Like in the title it's 16, but I was just so used to saying 22 for all the finales. If like Flash and Arrow were actually just 23, I probably wouldn't have got it confused, but because all the other three were 22.
Right, It says, on a more serious note, since Reverse Flash only knew to use Nora because of Nora, does that mean this time loop was always meant to happen and thus no time wraiths? The time wraiths thing is one of the things that I don't think we have a definitive answer for with Reverse Flash and Nora. I guess we're to assume that Nora... I mean, if Legends told the team that what she was doing was a soft effect on the timeline, I'm going to guess that the time wraiths didn't come after her because she wasn't making massive changes. I guess that's what it is, maybe. I don't. It wasn't really answered in the season why the time wraiths didn't show up.
The only issue with that stuff, like, I'm fine with it, to be completely honest. The only thing that really puts like a spanner in the works and sort of makes it it's a bit confusing is Savitar. Because I guess if Nora was able to affect that time back in season 2, where it was actually season 1, but then Iris was meant to die, and there was a future where Iris was dead, and that was meant to be the future of this timeline anyway.
Right.
So how would Nora be allowed to affect that season 1 stuff? You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Trust me, I've been thinking about the Flash finale since it aired, trying to figure it all out. So Naruto, thank you for the super chat. There's no real answer. I mean, we'll talk about it a bit more after we talk about the Supergirl stuff. I've got some Flash stuff I want to talk about anyway. Ash Berry on with the $5 super chat says, the show's taught us Oliver's actions are pointless. The government is racist, corrupt. Legends should write. Magic Berry has to pull out every time. You guys, you're so straightforward with that. Thank you for the super chat. And yeah, I mean, you're right. Oliver's actions are ultimately pointless because of what happened in the future. But hopefully we'll find out because of Crisis, that future may not happen now. We don't know. I know that Beth said that future was set in stone, but that might not be 100% true. Maybe it's set in stone for Arrow, but maybe Crisis can change that. I don't know. Yes, there is lag. I cannot help YouTube. Sorry. Okay, so that's all the super chats. Let's jump back over and finish off the Supergirl stuff really quick. All right, so the Nia John Brandy stuff is what we're talking about. What did you think about Nia's story? You think they did a good job of like everything with her? Like the astral projecting thing and all of that. What did you think of all that?
Yeah, it was okay. I don't really have much to say.
I mean, it's
about
pretty
it,
obvious she's gonna be next. She's gonna be on next season. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, yeah, she'll be in next season. It was just okay. I didn't have.
Are you ready for? Are you ready for my first complaint about the Shelly Island stuff? Because this is one of my big complaints for the episode. You ready? You guys ready for it?
Go for it.
So when they're taken to Shelly Island, they're taken to the island where they got all the dampening things for alien powers, so no one can use our powers, right?
Yeah.
So why did John still look like his shape-shifting self and not his Martian self?
Wouldn't he just?
He should just revert back to his normal form because he lost his power.
Well, no. Wouldn't he just be? He wouldn't be able to shapeshift again, so he just get lost in that.
I don't know.
Pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure that's a thing in an earlier season.
I think it's because of budget. That's what I think.
Well, no, but I'm pretty sure they explained it in an earlier season. I think it was like he can't do it but like if he's already in a form, he'll stay in that form.
Yeah.
So if he looked like Mon-El, God forbid, he'd be stuck looking like Mon-El and stuff like that. And they have to deal with Mon-El.
Yeah, guys, I know there's lag. I can't do anything about it. On my end, it's connected. So I'm sorry. It'll have to correct itself. I'm assuming because I don't know. It's not as bad as it was before, but people are saying that YouTube is giving them 30-second lag spike. So let's hope we can get through this. Okay. Anyway, Lex's big plan was to take over the USA by controlling the president, also destroying Argo and Superman in the process. That was his big plan, I guess, all along.
Yep.
So what do you think about that? What did you think about that plan?
Not really surprised. I mean, he's obsessed, so
let's see. People are saying there's hard lag. Yes, I know. It's on my side. It's working, and on the YouTube end, when I'm looking in the app, it's just a yellow. It's the normal, like, not perfect thing. It's not red for me.
I think it's working now. It's not lagging anymore.
So anyway, yeah, I thought, and John Cryer did a great job this season, and we know that he is being set up for Crisis as well.
Yeah.
Because we get him in his suit, which is like the TV budget version of the Iron Man suit, but it looked good for the television. I'm not going to complain too much about it. I thought it looked really good for the budget they had. No real complaints there. It looked better than it did the first time we saw it, which I believe was last season. And it looks like Supergirl defeats Lex, which puts her in the good graces with everybody around the world, the government, blah, blah, blah. But we see that's not the case. That Lena's actually the one that shoots and kills Lex, but then the Monitor goes and picks him up and takes him away. So...
Well, we don't see what it necessarily does. We just see that he opens his hand and blue stuff comes out.
Yeah. So my question is, based on that and the other reveal we get in this episode with John's brother, what is the Monitor playing at here? Because we know he's not a good guy or a bad guy. He's just a person. But if he's going and interacting with villains and bringing John's brother over and looking like he's setting up some sort of battle between him and his brother, which is, in the comics, I can't pronounce his name, but I know that people pronounce it Malefic, right? Isn't that how people are pronouncing it?
Malefic or something, but it's like Malafar-ek or something.
Yeah. So in the comics, he's John's twin brother.
It's definitely got a more confusing name than John Jones.
Yeah. So in the comics, it's John's twin brother. So
yeah, and he's like responsible for like basically killing Mars and killing all the Green Martians.
Do you think that's the story they're going to give him on the show?
Probably not. If anything, they might make it that he might have had a part in what the White Martians did.
Mm-hmm.
But then he says like like, what does he say? It's like, it was like, oh fuck, what was it? It was like, it's like you'd been trapped there or something. You're a phantom to your place. Now it's time to get revenge on your brother who did something to you. Something like that. Like it sounds like Jean did something to him.
Right.
And then you hear him say, "I'm coming for you, John Jones." And then when like he asked the monitor to help him, he said the monitor was like, "Oh, well."
How does this play into Crisis though? That seems like the monitor is there specifically for Crisis. How is this going to play into Crisis? I don't understand.
Well, the thing is, Monitor's probably doing something for him to help him out. But I don't know necessarily why the Monitor would need to do that. Unless, because I guess the guy could just refuse to do it. But
well, because the Monitor can do anything, basically. He can snap his fingers and do pretty much whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's got control of everything.
So why would he need to do this? There's got to be something else that we're not seeing.
Well, there's got to be some other reason behind it, which obviously they're not going to reveal now. So we just have to wait and see what happens.
So do you think that they're going? This is my theory about this. He's supposed to be John's twin brother. Do you think he's going to be his twin brother in the show, or do you think he'll let him wear somebody else's body so they don't have to use David in every shot they were together? Because they've done that a couple times now. With Supergirl this season, we had Supergirl, we had Red Daughter. I don't necessarily want to see a doppelganger thing again with Martian.
Yeah, but you got to remember, like, the only reason he looks like Hank Henshaw is because he was Hank Henshaw.
Right, but what I'm saying is, do you think that his brother is going to necessarily look like him, or do you think he'll pick another person to shapeshift into? I would love it if he would shapeshift into Manchester Black, because he can see into John's mind, and John's scenes or David's scenes with Manchester Black were so good. Bringing him back as that character, I think, would be kind of cool, right? Or no? You don't think so?
It doesn't really. I think that'd make less sense than, because how would he know about Manchester Black?
Because he can read minds. He'd be able to look into John's fears.
No, you can't. Malefic can't. That's it. That's like why he's different. He doesn't have telepathy.
Yeah, but we're assuming that they're gonna use that in the show. I mean, they may not. He may have telepathy in the show.
Well, I prefer that. That's the thing that makes him different in the comics, is that he's like, that's why he hates the Green Martians, because they stripped that. Well, that's like one of his biggest issues, that they stripped that power away from him, which is something that they all have, and he got it stripped away from him.
That would be interesting then. So, because they're not going to leave him in his Martian form the whole time, we know that.
No, but I'd like it if he just look like random dude number 7 or something. Like, I'll just get an actor to play him. But I don't think it makes sense if he's Manchester Black.
Right.
I'd turn it to DJ Eric with a hat and be like, well, this doesn't make sense, and nitpick the shit out of it.
So that's pretty much the whole episode. There wasn't very much else, I think. I think John Cryer did a great job. Obviously, he's going to be coming back, at least for Crisis. We have the introduction of John's brother. Brainiac is pretty much back to normal. So it seems like everything's kind of business as usual. But I'm going to say this finale, to me, was easily the best one. And you said you agree with me on that. The best one for the season from all the shows. And I think it proves that Supergirl has just continuously gotten better every single season. I mean, season 1, not great. Season 2, a little bit better. Season 3, much better, even with the stumbles they had at the end. Season 4, the best season of Supergirl so far, I think.
Yeah, despite it having the worst opening 4 to 5 episodes of any of the shows.
Yes.
It had a really bad opening.
Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, basically.
All right, so you guys go down in the comments below here and let me know what your scores are in that chat. If you're watching this on playback, let me know in the comments below, as well as what you thought of the episode overall. Your numeric score 1 to 10 in the chat. Let me know, guys, and we will move on to Legends of Tomorrow. We'll do our super chats before we do that, so let me go ahead and swap these in. So apparently Swamp Thing released a picture of the full suit. Did you see it?
The full suit? Isn't it just like the best look at his head or some shit?
Well, apparently it's the whole suit.
Swamp Thing.
Or at least the majority of the suit.
Oh, it's his top half. It's his top half. I thought it was just instead. I was pretty sure it's his top half.
Yeah. Thoughts on it?
I think it looks good.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Pagey is cursing a lot tonight. That's what Izetzi says. All right.
Well, he's going to get demonetized anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
That is true. That is reality. All right, let's do the super chats real quick before we get to Legends. Go back over here. Let's see, what did I miss here? Okay, Team Forward with a $2 super chat says, a new Zari is coming. Will she be a legend again? Probably. I mean,
but she'll have a big dragon.
Yeah. It's going to be the Zari that got changed. We're going to talk about the ridiculous aspects of that in just a minute.
Eric is triggered.
I am a little bit triggered. I am. Just a little bit. Let's see. I'm gonna get through these super chats real quick. Ganger Venom with a $4.99 super chat says, when Constantine took that other shapeshifter's powers, she didn't change back. She was just locked in. Same thing happened to John. I would say that Legends and Supergirl don't share any rules. Thank you for the suggestion, but after the finale for Legends, I'm inclined to believe that they just make stuff up. So I don't think there's any rules to what they're doing. So, I mean, it's possible. If that's what we want to go with, we'll go with that. Thank you for the super chat. Mustack Reviews with a $2 or is that Australian dollars? Is that what that is? With the A in front of it?
Let's say that it's Australian or it's Austrian.
Okay. Either way, thank you so much. Are we expecting Constantine for season 5? Okay, based on this finale, yes, absolutely Constantine's coming back. What do you think? What do you think about that? I think so.
Yeah, based off the finale, yes. Especially with how they set up next season, you think Constantine maybe would have maybe would have connected with some of them in the past. I don't know. I'm intrigued. You can whine all you want about this finale, Eric, but the setup for next season looks incredibly interesting.
Oh no, it does. I agree. But
yeah,
in all fairness, the setup for this season looked interesting last year too, and then it just ended up not being good.
Yeah, but I think even we were questioning it last season, like, really, are they going to be able to do that? And the answer was no, they weren't able to do that. But this one, it's not hard because it's not anything like, it's not creatures and stuff like that. It's pretty simple, and it will involve time travel. You would hope.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of time travel.
So yes, Constantine for next season, almost definitely confirmed. Ash with a $5 super chat says, Gary looks better in the Flash season 4 suit than Barry does in the Flash season 5 suit. The chin strap matters. I thought the top of it was weird because they just made it out of the same material. It was leather. It wasn't like that vinyl or that plastic or that rubber. It was literally the same material as the actual suit because that was a season 4 suit. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. They couldn't just give our Barry a leather hood or made of like the same material as a suit, because obviously they can do that.
I think it's more that they just gave Gary the suit, but then obviously the cowl wasn't going to fit his head because Grant has like a weird shaped head. It's like really long. It's like a really tall head, so that had to make him a new cowl, I think.
Let's see. Lone Wolf X6 with a $5 super chat says, the tone is all over the place to bring John on the show. I was under the impression the season was going to be horror based. Season 2 had the best tone. I'm not going to disagree with you. I agree with all that. Season 2 was my favorite season, and I did expect this season to be a bit darker. And yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. All right, so they wrapped up their storyline with the whole monster thing, turning it was the title of the episode was Hey World, Hey, comma, World. So they take these monsters to Hey World that Nate creates using the book they got earlier in the season, and tries to turn them into like some like theme park show about monsters being good and helpful and misunderstood. That's how they wrap that up.
Well, it was also to drown out the fear.
Yeah. But I think ultimately this was the only way they could finish the season. Honestly. I mean, I know it's this whole concept is kind of silly and stupid to me, but if you look at what we had throughout the season, this was the best way for them to finish it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it made sense.
Yeah. So I can't complain too much about that. I just my dislike of the season as a whole makes it hard for me to be entertained by, even though it makes the most sense. Let's see. The best part of the last 2 episodes, though, were the Constantine stuff. I thought he was the best part. Did you agree with that or you disagree with that? I thought the Constantine stuff was really good.
I don't know. The Mona stuff was pretty good.
I wasn't expecting that. I had to wait a second and think if you were being serious there.
It's amazing being serious.
No, I thought the Constantine stuff was good, going to hell and dealing with the demons and bringing back stuff from his show. If we thought this was Constantine 2.0, the next season is going to be Constantine 3.0 because we're diving into the Astra storyline. I remember the show. I thought it was Astrid, not Astra. Was it?
No, it was Astra.
Was it? For some reason, I thought it was Astrid.
Isn't Astrid that stupid little comic book about the Nordish people?
I don't know.
It's the Astrid Viking?
I don't know. Either way, she's all grown up now.
Astrid's a character from Vikings.
Yeah.